What's going on, people? Welcome to the BV Sports Show. Got another special interview again today with my good friend, one of my best friends of 20 odd years, Kodi Lyons-Foster in the building. Come to talk with us. What's going on, brother?
Thank you for having me. I'm all good, man. Can't complain.
Thank you for coming down. Thank you for taking the time, bro. Really appreciate it. My co-host hasn't arrived yet, so we're just going to jump into it. Broski, obviously for the people that don't know, who's Kodi Lyons-Foster? Where do you come from?
Who's Kodi Lyons-Foster is a good question. I feel like now at 27 years old, I've formed an identity now away from football. So obviously I play football now semi-professionally. I've spent most of my life playing football, the past 20 years, as you know. But I'm a dad, I'm a partner, I'm a brother, a son, everything else, and I'm also a footballer. So yeah, that's me, man.
I love that. That's a proper explanation. I love that. Start off with your early life then, bro. Where do you come from?
So obviously from a council estate, North London, that low economic kind of background, if you like. Early memories are playing football from dusk till dawn, every day of the week. I couldn't tell you what day of the week it was, but I could tell you when a football session was or where it was going to be. Yeah, man, that's kind of my story coming up, really.
Obviously, we go back quite a long time. Obviously, literally neighbours across the road from each other. Yeah, obviously growing up playing together as well. At what age did you kind of start getting into sport, or should I say football? When did it kind of take a real liking to it and get into it on like a serious level? So
obviously sport was massive because obviously my dad's a PE teacher, as you know. So my dad's always been big into sport. So for us as kids, I'm from a family of 5 kids, so I'm middle child of 5. Growing up, we was always introduced to sport. So it was always about kind of having that release, if you like, that engagement with sport. And I enjoyed that. I played loads of sports when I was young. I used to do swimming, tennis, football being the main one, but I probably didn't start to take a real interest in football maybe until I was like 9, 10, pretty late, probably later than most people. When I always loved football, but I was never really I was one of them kids, a little bit of a late developer. So I kind of got, as you know, but I got quite tall when I got to like around 10 years old. So then I'm like a Bambi on ice at times.
I remember.
So I mean, I couldn't tell my left from my right, but obviously back then, as it started to become a little bit more serious, it'll probably not be until around 10 years old when I started to realise that I'm actually decent at this and everything's starting to gel. Athletically, I'm improving. I'm one of the quickest kids in my class and that sort of side of things. But yeah, it's always been something I've enjoyed. It's still, obviously now I eat, sleep, live, breathe football, man. It's something that I love. But it didn't become serious not until a bit later than your average kid, man. Not till like 10 years old, probably.
10. So for those that don't know, of course, obviously I'm very familiar with your story. We grew up together. What was your kind of introduction to like getting into like not serious football but like Sunday league, Friday league? What was your first introduction to that? Where did you go? So
before obviously playing in the academies and things like that, I started off playing. My first footballing experience in the team was for Finsbury Park. I think it was like £1 to play, 50p to play, whatever it was back then.
The good old days.
Yeah, so paying obviously 50p £1 for a session, and obviously playing Friday night Market Road, as you know. And then from then I went on to play Sunday League for AC Finchley, where I started off in the South team before even moving to the North team. So I was never that, at them ages, I wasn't the good player, if you know what I mean. I was a decent player, like athletically kind of good, but just wasn't very well coordinated, if you like. But yeah, those are kind of my early memories. Even at Finsbury Park, playing Friday nights, 7-a-side league, I still wasn't like a star player or anything back then. And it wasn't till a little bit later on when obviously you and I played together at Alexandra Palace where I then started to really develop and really start to kind of push on a bit more.
Yeah. Boy, good old days though, isn't it?
Trust me.
A young duo, innit?
Yes.
Let's get the ball to Kodi and centre midfield and I just make my run.
Straight out wide to the left, innit? Yeah, man.
And then make it work from there.
Trust me.
But so from AP then, was that you started there about under 11?
Under 11, 12-ish, yeah, around that sort of stage, yeah.
So from there, obviously you started developing. You was always, bro, you was one of the, obviously height-wise, you was always there. Got a good eye for a pass, could really play, got a shot on you as well. things started to click slowly. So from there, how did you kind of develop, and then what was the transition? Not transition, but how did obviously get into Spurs development? How did that come about?
Do you know what? Do you know?
Yeah, I need to know this as well, because I don't even know how you actually got into development.
When I think of it now, it's a good question, but I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly how I even got into this. But as you know, my dad's always been someone who's pushed for the best for me, best for my siblings, man. So I think it was probably down
Big up
to
Uncle
my dad.
Steve, by the way.
Yeah, big up my dad. But yeah, that was probably a big side of it. Is my dad was always someone who pushed me, wanted the best for me, and at times good wasn't good enough. And I look back now and I'm not resentful for that, because I look at myself and other peers who probably didn't have a father figure like I did, and someone to always push them and never allow them to be complacent and take their foot off the gas. So I think it was my dad who kind of pushed to get my name in that sort of environment of Spurs Development Centre. And if I'm honest, probably at the time I wasn't good enough to get scouted organically. I was at Finsbury Park at the time, and I remember pretty much 4 or 5 of the players that used to start every week were getting picked. They got picked to go to Spurs Development Centre. I was sitting there thinking, whoa, like when's my chance going to come? And I always thought, when's my chance going to come? But the thing is, as you know in football, sometimes you may not just get the chance organically. Sometimes all you need to be shown is the door. You need to kick your way through that door. And you know, someone can, there's a saying in it, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that was kind of my dad in a sense. So like he'd get me the opportunity, but then from then it was on me to make something happen, on me to kind of to make a career for myself. Yeah,
because even from then, it's like, I remember obviously you went there first.
Yeah.
And then I followed you in there shortly after.
Yeah.
And then we was there for a little while.
Yeah.
And then a trial game came about.
Trial game, yeah.
That trial game. And I was speaking to you earlier on about that as well.
Yeah.
One of my regrets as well. But separately, trial game came about, and obviously, well, between me and you, the rest is history. But to the wider public who are going to watch this, what was it like playing in like a trial game, and what kind of things made you stand out from the crowd, which eventually resulted in you going in on trial at Spurs?
The trial game, essentially, looking back at it, it's changed my life, innit? I mean, I played, if I hadn't have got signed for Spurs then God knows where I'd be, because even backtracking before that, I'd been getting rejected. I was getting rejected I even got rejected at Friday night leagues, looking to play for the best teams back then, St. Pancras, and I think it was maybe FDS. I didn't get signed by them because I wasn't good enough at the time.
That's crazy to me as well.
And then even a year or two after that, before Spurs, so this is after my Sunday League team, but just before Spurs, is getting rejected by Watford. I went on trial to Watford, and I just wasn't technically there. I wasn't as good. I didn't understand kind of the whole process of academy football, finding passes. I used to play off the cuff. I just used to get the ball, run with it, bang it, and but obviously that trial game, it changed my life. It changed my life because obviously from then I did go on to sign for Spurs and to have some success in the academy. But I think looking back at it, there was moments leading up to the trial game where I thought I'd been in a development centre for maybe 2-3 months, is it maybe? I felt
a bit longer than that.
Yeah, it could have even been longer. There you go. So it could have even been 6 months. Maybe let's just say 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'd been in the development centre, and I started to pick up the pace a little bit, started to kind of get up to scratch with the boys that had been there before me. And so when this trial game came about, it was against our age group, but the actual academy. So obviously it was a great opportunity. And all I thought going into that game, I remember just thinking, play my own game. I'm probably not going to be as good as them, but there are things I'm good at that they might not be able to do. Do you know what I'm saying? And having my footballing background from playing on the council estate, from being that sort of rough diamond, if you like, I kind of had that. I felt like I had that edge, and I still feel like I have that edge now. And I went into that game just playing free, man. And I think probably the one thing that caught their eye was there was a corner whipped in, and this is under 11s and 12s, by the way. And I've just gone Kodi's and just nutted it straight in, scored from that. And I think that was the kind of. And back then I was playing as a striker. And that's
what I was going to say. What position did you play in that game?
I think I played midfield, but I was playing a striker obviously on Sundays. So striker, attacking midfield, and then they played me in midfield in there. But just from that set piece alone, I think the way probably I attacked the ball was kind of uncharacteristic for someone who's 11, 12 years old. And I was just brave, as you know, but I was brave and bold. The ball's in the air, I'll just throw my head on it. I never minded that. And then obviously got signed from there, man.
Yeah, so because we found out about under 12s, under 12 correctly, right?
Yeah.
Got your 4 years quite early. Was highly touted. Highly, well thought of within the club.
Yeah.
What was it like coming through the age groups at Spurs, and obviously being at Spurs is one of the top academies,
Of course.
in the country? What was it like honing your skills? And obviously we know between as us in football community, you know, Spurs are quite technical with regards to how they train their players. What was it like coming through the age groups and yeah, obviously progressing on to further from there afterwards?
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good. It was as good as can be. I don't think there's anything I look back on where I missed out on. We went on tours. We had what I think of as the best coaches at the time. We had players that were some of the most technically gifted and understood the game to a deeper level. You're talking about players that are from when I was there, 12 to 16 years old. So this is still young, but players who understood and studied the game and understood that football, both tactically and technically. So kind of for me to gain that education and be around players that were already in the system from before me, from under 6, under 7, if you like, to kind of be around that, I was only going to improve, man. But it was brilliant, man. And especially I think rolling a few years ahead is that last season I spent at Spurs, moving into the new training ground. Again, the facilities, it showed the kind of just the level of what Spurs was, because back when we was younger, the main training ground was Chelsea, right? So you get your fixtures. You used to get a little piece of paper with all your fixtures, boom, 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 and the first thing you do is read through and look straight for Chelsea. As soon as you see Chelsea, Cobham away.
Yeah, we going Cobham, yeah.
Bro, I used to be gassed just to use the little, remember the little boot cleaner thing? They had the little gun, just, do you know what I mean? And then
just running and do your
to
feet
quickly
and that.
just clean your boots. But obviously to now be at a ground and at a club where they've got these facilities and I can work in this sort of environment every week was, yeah, man, second to none.
I don't remember. I didn't think you would have caught the new training ground. I thought you would have left.
So that was my last season. So yeah, as an under 16.
So even for me, educate me, for those that don't know, because I've been to the new training ground a couple of times, but I haven't really been able to really go and like really see a lot of parts of it.
Yeah.
What was the difference between Spurs Lodge and obviously the training centre now?
Spurs Lodge was like it was a small complex. Like obviously Spurs Lodge was the academy place, and you had the first team place was in Chigwell.
Yeah.
Again, Spurs Lodge was a small little place. It had everything you needed. It had the little kind of clubhouse bit, and it had pitches all over, and the pitches were still nice, and facilities were still good. Like they were still reasonable, especially for back then. But obviously, when you look at the Chelseas who had the Cobhams and United who had Carrington, which obviously needs buffing up now, but back then it was a joke.
Even Hayland.
Hayland was good back then, but and obviously they've developed that now. But when you look at that, it showed kind of Spurs were always going to be what they are now, if you like, like a top 5, top 6 club through that investment in the academy. Okay.
So even just to touch on more about Spurs and stuff like that, any like growing up, obviously I'm well aware you played with the likes of Josh Onomah, Luke Amos, Anthony Giorgio. Who else am I missing? I'm missing anybody else?
Nathan Oduwa,
Ogilvie,
Harry Winks,
Vincent
Young. There's a lot of players.
There's a lot of players. Like, what was it like? Obviously, all of that well thought of footballers. What was it like coming through in that period, and obviously eventually playing for England as well, or in the England youth team anyway?
It was surreal, bro. It was amazing. It was everything I'd dreamed of and more. And more, the England bit being the more, man. I just wanted to be an academy player. That was all I wanted to do. And to be at Spurs, which is, of course, as you know, my family football club. Yeah. Amazing feeling. Probably a proud moment for my dad, but also a proud moment for me, for all my family, man. And to be at a club which was so close to our hearts was, amazing. But to rub shoulders with some of the names you've just rang off there, at the time, I didn't even know that they were going to go on to be them sort of players. The big one, I forgot, Kyle Walker-Peters, a great player. But obviously, at the time, you're not in a dressing room thinking, he's going to be this player and he's going to play for England and he's going to play 100 games for us. But you never look at it like that. You just look at it as like, he's good. And how I looked at it was, for example, you say Luke Amos. Luke was always a good player, technically very sound. Same for Josh Onomah. Those are the players, Denzel Boadu, as you know, Denzel, who was in the academy back then. Those are players I looked at and I said, you know what, I want to be just like you. But that was my first thing. When I first got through to that kind of under 12 team, those are the players I looked at, I thought, you're a cut above everyone else. You pass the ball different. You make demands on yourself. You're angry after training. I'd never seen someone be vexed after training. After training was just vibes back then. Do you know what I mean? We used to have to laugh and walk off and forget. But them lot were so passionate about their craft, and that was something I wanted to develop and to become. And I did eventually become that, and I become one of the kids that were the 4-year contract boys. And the names I've just listed there were also the boys that on 4-year contracts. And now I'm rubbing shoulders, and now I'm competing with these boys, and now I'm kind of on par with them. The next step was ultimately to try and surpass them, and that's not easy doing. It's not, of course, but it's as long as you can set the bar there. Do you know what I mean? If you end up here, you'll still be happy subsequently. So I think that kind of explained the success of England, of going to win the Victory Shield. With England. Again, England, another brilliant experience with some good players, man. So yeah, I'm really grateful, and those are fond memories when I look back, man.
To touch on England a bit more, what was it like to actually play for England? Because there's only a minimal amount of people that can actually say that. No matter what level you're playing at, it's still a great achievement. So what was it like to put on the Three Lions jersey and, it was like to put on the Three Lions jersey,
For us, where we're coming from, but it is so much more after it. Do you know what I mean? After that experience, it was so much bigger than just the playing for the game. It was being on Sky Sports. I'm 15 years old, but I've still got to go to school next week. Like, I'm on Sky Sports, and I'm coming back to the ends and see my friends, and they say to me, "Oh, I see you on Sky Sports." And little things like this, and going into school next week. So things like that were it's that moment of starting to think, right, I might be a footballer, or I want to be a footballer. I really want to do this every week. I want to be on Sky Sports. I want to be playing in international teams and things like that. That was when I sort of started to develop that real hunger and desire for it. But no, it was brilliant, man. I mean, I played in a really talented team. Ruben Loftus-Cheek was in that team. Alex Iwobi.
Alex was in that team as well?
Alex was in that team as well. And a couple others, man. But some really good players in there.
Sick. Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So
cool. Moving on from there, obviously, 12 to 16 was at Spurs. Obviously, it's a bit. Subject's a little bit. Obviously, no one likes to talk about getting released and stuff like that.
Of course.
What was that period like? Leaving Spurs and going on to pastures new? Because obviously, well touted footballer with a lot of ability, well respected. You weren't short of suitors. What was the next move from there? What was the next phases that you was going through?
I think to touch on that feeling of rejection and being released, it wasn't something new to me. Like I said, I'd already been at Watford when I was under 10, 11, where it was. I got told no. I'd been to St. Pancras and they told me no when I was younger than that. So it was that. It wasn't. Rejection was never something that. Naturally it hurts, but it wasn't something I couldn't take, if you like. I'm not one of them kids who's going to sit here and say, yeah, I was distraught. No, I wasn't. It was a surprise to me because of how well I'd been doing during my time at Spurs. But ultimately, I think what it boiled down to, without going too much into it, it was myself, my dad, and the representative at the time felt like I was on the right path to earn an additional pro, rather than just a scholarship, a pro as well. And I don't think, even upon reflection now, that I was wrong in thinking that, man. Naturally, I wanted the best for myself, and it wasn't about finances to do with the pros. All it was about was just giving myself that stability of still being in professional football at 18, 19, past that scholarship. And I felt like I'd warranted that. When I went away with the international team, the majority of the boys had already had, we're under 15, 16s now. These boys had already had their pro contracts and scholarships. They clocked that. That was under 40. So I was the only one actually in that England team at the time which hadn't been offered a pro or something like that. So that was kind of my reason around moving on, if you like. And like you said, obviously, after that, I think I was kind of overwhelmed at the interest that I had gauged from playing my football and from doing so well at Spurs. Because obviously after that, I went to Liverpool for a while. I went to Man United for a while. Spent a few months at Arsenal. So there were a few clubs where I could have moved on to, and I probably, I don't know, I don't have no regrets in football, but maybe upon reflection, I ended up going to Villa. It was the right choice for me at the time. I still think it was the right choice now, but I think as a footballer, you always look back when you've had another club come in for you, you're going to look back and think, oh, maybe I should have gone there. What may have life been like if I'd have gone there, if you like. So yeah, man, that's kind of that under 16 block. Just that summed up.
obviously playing for Spurs during that period, obviously we played a lot in the tournaments like the Milk Cup, etc., etc., etc. But can you touch on being a London boy, obviously born and bred in Islington, going to going to, because obviously they were heavily interested in you, of course, but going up to Manchester and going to Liverpool and going into their setups, was there any differences that you came across, or any, obviously, the way they played, or the way different type of players had different techniques and stuff? What was it like going and playing with them boys up there?
Even before that, yeah. So I always felt like whenever I played the teams up north, they were always just had like a different kind of grip between their teeth. Like when they tackled you, them boys would go right under through, and through you. Do you know what I mean? You'd come away with a little limp afterwards. And if it was the 85th minute and there's a 50-50 ball, he's not going to let you just jog there. He's going to, and that's how I always felt against the Northern. But I don't know what it is. Maybe they're a little bit fitter, or I don't know if the coaching style is a little bit different there. But I always felt that was kind of a big difference. I noticed that when I played the Villas, the Uniteds, Liverpool, Cities, them sort of teams, they just had that extra grip between their teeth, if you like. But yeah, and going up there, obviously culturally a little bit different. Nothing really hugely different, as in technically, tactically. They were all on a similar level. I still think Spurs edged it. I still think that the technical education, in my opinion, back then was just advanced, man. It was before his time. You had coaches, I look back now, I had coaches like Chris Ramsey, John McDermott, Dean Rastrick, Michael Donaldson, Mehmet Ali, who now are in strong positions in football. And those are like, that was the level, bro. These were top coaches where you'll struggle even now to find a better coach than that. So I still think Spurs edged it back then, do you know?
Even, what was the one that was at Liverpool for a while? I think he's at Spurs before you
Alex Singlethorpe. Alex
Singlethorpe as well, another one.
Again.
Yeah, because even like when I tell people about like how technical Spurs were back in the day in regards to like the way they train their youth players, people were like, oh, you know, people silly, Spurs, people don't realize, like, even from the development center, like they had us really working. Working.
Yeah.
But signing for Villa, as you said, you felt like it's the right choice, regardless of what could have been or what not. If you've gone elsewhere, what was signing for Villa like and moving to Birmingham?
It was a shock, obviously, initially. The movement I'm on about, not just moving clubs, as in relocating, as in living in a different city, meeting new people. I'd gone to Villa. Most of the clubs I'd been at had usually been one or two players there where I might have recognised him, or I might have played internationally with him. But at Villa, I didn't know anyone.
Really?
I didn't know so. I hadn't played internationally with none of them. Didn't know anyone that knew him, kind of thing. So that was tough, man. And it wasn't tough living away from home and things like that for me personally. I was cool with that. I'd accepted that was going to be my fate, and I'd have to miss out on things and maybe not go out partying with the lads and little things like that. I kind of already accepted, but just from a social side, kind of not being around someone from a background like mine was tough. I think that was ultimately where I found it a little bit harder as the years went on. Just not having that Javan, if you like how you and I are, do you know what I'm saying? So just not having that kind of friend where I could speak to someone and they could really relate to me on that level, like what it's like coming from a low economic household, and just not having someone like that was kind of tough, man. But yeah, it was a great experience, man. I love my time at Villa, and I think there is where I really learned the art of defending. I had a Tony McAndrew, who was like a ex-Chelsea player, and he was hard as nails, man. He was a Scotsman, and he kind of taught me, like, yes, you can play. That was my main thing. Back then, I was always on about getting on the ball, expressing myself, driving out, finding passes. But he taught me, yes, you can already do that. Let's work on that, but we need to really lock down this art of defending, heading the ball, putting your body where it hurts, and yeah, that side of it. Because
that's crazy. Because I remember, like, always knowing you to be a ball playing midfielder. Obviously, you could play in the 8, you could play in the 10, you could play in the 4. Yeah. But then at Villa's, where you really went to being a proper defender. And even watching you play against Arsenal and stuff, and I come to watch some games and that, and I'd see you play different, and I'm like, to myself, I'd be like, why is Codes playing like that now? Like, this ain't the Codes that I know. Like, why is he like that? But I get it, and I could see, like, even though you obviously change your playing style, probably playing centre half is a bit different to playing in midfield to a degree at times. I could always see you really enjoyed it, though.
I loved it, man. I love it now, but as you know, like, people will look for moments in the game. Your career is about moments ultimately.
Facts,
but like
yeah.
I can always look back every season at a moment where I may have dug my team out of jail, or I may have swept up around my centre half partner and made a huge block. Though I love that, man. I love putting my head where it hurts. I love coming off, and the missus don't like it when I come home with bumps and bruises. But I almost like coming home with a battle wound, like a black eye or a scratch or something silly like that. I enjoy that because it shows me I've been in the game and I've given everything to get 3 points. And like I said, I think I probably owe that to the likes of Tony McAndrew, who taught me that art of defending, man. Who taught me how to read danger. I was always good at kind of stepping in and nicking it from the front foot, but what about the ball in behind? And what about if someone gives you a nudge, how are you going to recover? Or if you're playing against someone really strong, someone quick, little things like that, where I had to now start to break down the process of how to defend. And that's what I ultimately learned at Villa.
So even in saying that, bro, playing at Villa and stuff like that, what could you say, like, what can I say? Obviously started like training with the 21s and obviously with the first team as well.
Yeah.
You became close friends with Charles and Zobia.
Yeah.
Hope we can touch on that a little bit as well. What was a step up like in regards to playing, obviously being one of the, was you not captain at part of the 18s?
Under 18, like captain, vice captain, yeah.
So what was it like jumping up into the 21s and training first team? Like how did that jump feel for you?
Yeah, like the 21s was obviously the first step in it. So as any player who's playing the 18s, naturally you want that next progression. You want to be in the 21s, if you like. That's the next natural progression from 18s. Going into the 18s initially as a first year scholar, first and foremost, is tough because you're playing now, rather than just playing your own age group, you're playing with your age group and the year above. So naturally what you see is, when you're a first year scholar, some people don't really play as much until they're in their second year. I was one of the fortunate ones. I played pretty much every week as a first year and as a second year. So to then get that kind of reward of playing in the 21s was nice. It was a nice feeling, but I always looked at that as a stepping stone. I didn't want to be in the 21s for too long. I just wanted to get into that first team environment and try and push on. And training with the first team was a whole new level. Like it was completely different because you're playing with Premier League players, and when people tell you there's levels to there's levels, bro. And it's not just about the United to Liverpools, the Cities, the Arsenals. Even at a Villa team back then, Charles and Zogbia, you had players like Gabriel Bonlahor, Micah Richards, who wasn't in the best vein of his career, but still a top player. Tom Cleverley was there at the time. These sort of players where most people might look at and go, he's average. But no, when you train with them and when you see them on a daily basis, you learn and really see that there is levels to it, bro. Do you see where I'm coming from? Yeah.
My co-host has finally arrived. Mr. Dom P. Come and join us, brother.
I'm gonna go easy, bro.
I'm trying having a child.
He's currently on his period at Aston Villa. As a scholar and a first year scholar 2 year pro.
Yeah.
So anything you want to touch on? Obviously being an ex-baller yourself, obviously playing at a level, you know what I'm saying? Any questions you want to ask, Brother Codes?
Yeah, I'll say, who's the best players that you played with at Villa or trained with?
Jack Grealish is obviously
always the one,
the main name, and like he was just, Jack was a cut above, man. He was technically left foot, right foot. His ability to find a pass, his ability to just glide past people, and Jack's not an amazing athlete. Like, yes, he's got tree trunk legs, but those are genetics. It's not. And back then, he wasn't like a grafter. He was one of them who would be on Broad Street on Saturday night. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think that's fair for me to say. But he was just technically so much better, and he was a step ahead of everyone. He was different to everyone else.
See, you guys talking about like Grealish. So let's say obviously there's a lot of up and coming youngsters watching this. What advice would you give to them? Because obviously, let's be honest, there's a lot of youngsters that probably have better talent than Grealish. But what would they need to do in order to get where he is? Like right now, Man City, for example, winning the Champions League, 3 Premier Leagues, I think, on the bounce for him.
Yeah.
So what would they need to do in order to get that level?
I think there's a big word which I'm seeing a lot of, and it resonates with me now. It's accountability. It's being accountable for what you do every single day of your life, whether that's your diet, whether that's your gym program, whether that's your pre-activation. just being accountable for everything, like doing the best you can at every given opportunity. So don't even if it's just a 15-minute double session technical bit, just giving that everything, because that's ultimately where you're gonna improve. There's always gonna be players that are technically naturally just gifted. They've just got more than you, or more than you and I could have naturally. We could do more hours than him, but he's just gonna have that edge over us. So how do you compete with them sort of players? How do you become better than them? By doing more than them, by holding your craft and just putting in hours and hours on end that other people may not see. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what separates the good from the average and the bad from the good.
I want to touch on obviously one of my favorite stories as such. Yeah, your brothership. I don't want to say your relationship because that's a pause these days. Your brothership with Charles and Zobia. So that was your guy still, and obviously the French contingent. I think you like this one as well. Still,
so Charles and a few other players at Villa were getting bombed off. There was that period at Villa where I think there's a few boys that have been there for a few years on big money and long contracts, and Charles was one of them who was in our dressing room getting bombed off. But straight away, I kind of just latched onto his kind of energy, if you like. Like he was just a top guy and a good pro, and naturally just being French, he just had that je ne sais quoi about him. Like he would just have like a different aura about him. Everything was a little bit different. Yeah, just a swagger. Like it'll be freezing cold and everyone's coming out in a hat and snood, and he's got his Louis Vuitton leather gloves on and things like that. Like he just had, like it was just, his whole thing was different, man. And I looked at that and I just thought, yeah, man, that's just like that. If I was to be any sort of way close to him, I'd want to have something about me which distinguished me from everyone else, man. I love Charles, man. Top player as well, by the way. Yeah, top player, man. Even better guy, though, man.
Also, as well, you was a part of the Villa group that won the Next Gen series as well.
That was just before me.
Just before
me. So that was like a pulling factor for me to join.
Yes.
So seeing, obviously, the Next Gen, for people that don't know, was like the equivalent to
Champions League.
The Youth Champions League. And Villa had won that. So when I'd seen I watched the Next Gen thoroughly before that, and they beat Chelsea, obviously surpassed Arsenal and I think a few other teams, City at the time, and that was kind of a big pulling factor for me to want to be a part of that.
Yeah, Jack Grealish went crazy in that tournament. That's really how he made his name, innit, really?
Yeah.
So who you played with? Who's now playing first team?
At Villa?
Yeah, no, or anywhere else, like your age group.
So at Spurs, Harry Winks, Conor Ogilvie, who's playing at Pompey, trying to think who else. Kyle Walker-Peters at Southampton now.
That's my guy.
Yeah, there's a few. But obviously the ones who've gone on to do...
Josh Onomah,
not forget about Josh. But there's a few names, and more will probably come back to me as we speak. But the one obviously who's gone on and done the best is Jack Grealish ultimately. But I'm not surprised. And I look back and I think he, like I said before, he just had what everyone else didn't, man. He just had more than everyone else. He just had a way of shifting the ball and a way of gliding past people, and it wasn't down to being the quickest, being the strongest, being, do you know what I mean, the sharpest fit. It wasn't down to that. It was how he saw the game. It was how he could see if he dropped that shoulder, he could push it this way, and that was what kind of gave him the cut above.
Fairs. Touch on obviously getting that bad knee injury that you got at that period of time as well. What was it like, obviously, suffering that injury and recovery, and obviously trying to get yourself back into the fold at Villa? What was that like?
That was tough. That there was something which was new to me. I'd never had a proper injury. I'd had like minor little ankle rolls and little tweaks, muscle tweaks here and there, but I'd never had a proper injury like that. So that was my medial, and it was a grade 3 at the time. So which is obviously I didn't need the operation, thankfully, but it was a grade 3 medial, and just the shock of it at the time where I wasn't doing great at Villa. It was in my last year of my deal, and I was expecting to be playing every week, and I'd encountered a 21s manager who wasn't necessarily having me, if you like, and then pushing myself so hard. I know the hours I put in leading up to that injury, and I actually got injured doing an extra session, which wasn't even scheduled. So me and another couple other teammates had decided to get some balls and do an extra session. So we went on with this manager there to do an extra session. So it was only like a group of 3 or 4 of us. And I'm pushing myself naturally, as you are. And when there's only 3 or 4 of you, everyone's kind of got a bit of head loss because we the boys weren't getting the game time. So yeah, it probably happened from overexerting myself, but that was just like frustration, man. That was kind of when everything hit home, and then all I wanted to do was be back in London at that point. I didn't want to be staying in Birmingham. Do you know what I mean? With a brace on my leg and on crutches. I didn't want that. That was just really, really frustrating period for me.
Would you say that would touch on, was it kind of having a big effect on your mental health and stuff like that? Obviously thinking about being back in London and stuff like that. Obviously, you're in digs at the time.
In digs, yeah. I'm not one of them that's gonna say, yeah, my mental health
card. Yeah.
If you're in the mud, you're in the mud. Like you're never in the mud forever, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's just a tough period. It's football. It's an injury. It's not the be all and end all of life. Like at the time, it didn't feel like that. I can say that now, but at the time, it did feel frustrating. It did feel crap. But I never sat there and once really thought I'm depressed or anything like as far to say like that. But I just felt like the reason I wanted to be at home because I wasn't playing. I just thought I got to that kind of F this kind of mindset, which was wrong. And that was only for probably the first four weeks of being injured. And I think that's probably because, like I said, I'd known how hard I was working to just try and get in the team. And I'd known what effect this injury is going to have on me. It come at a horrible time. I think I got injured in October and didn't come back until February, March. So that's obviously, 5 or 6 months, at which point in between there is that pivotal period around what they call it the Christmas period and the business end of the season is when you're going to get your decision on what next season looks like or whether you're going on loan and things like that. But I missed them opportunities, and I think ultimately that's what kind of hindered my chances of getting another contract at Villa. Okay.
So come towards the end of that season, not towards the end of the season, but you have a bit of a falling out with the gaffer, an incident occurs. What was that period like? Obviously having that.
So the incident had occurred prior to him even coming in. So it actually happened when I was a first year scholar, and without going too deep into it, when you're coming from the part of London we're coming from, and you move up north, and you're not used to this environment where banter is going on and people are tying up your shoes and things. I'm all for a laugh, especially now. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm a lot more relaxed, I'm a lot more experienced. But when you're coming from where we're coming from, there needs to be like an easing in period. And someone was just trying to rub me up the wrong way, and I'm not used to that. And where we're coming from is not. If that happens, it might go off. Do you see where I'm coming from? And eventually it ended up going off. And and that's probably that rough edge to me back then. Do you know what I mean? And probably that lack of professionalism back then, without having that cool head where I can just go, you know what, just walk away and just leave it. But yeah, I think ultimately that may have been a factor as to why the new manager didn't like me. I don't know if it was ultimately that, but I just wasn't his flavour, man. And that's football. But that was my first experience of not being good enough for someone. But since that experience, I've always took less of a care. His opinion didn't matter to me. Like once all was said and done. At the time it did, but coming out of that kind of taught me that this is football. That was my eye opener to football. This is football. Someone's gonna like you, someone's gonna dislike you, but whatever happens, you can only do yourself proud. You can only do yourself justice in how you train, in how you perform, in how you play on a Saturday when given the chance. And if you tick all them boxes for yourself, then that's all you can do, man.
I hear it for sure. So obviously things didn't materialise with Villa, so you moved to Bristol City, obviously going further up, a little bit further up away from London and stuff like that. What was moving to Bristol City like? Under Lee Johnson as well? Yeah,
Bristol City was good. Again, another city, so like a new experience for me again, further away from home, but at the time it wasn't a bad thing. I think I needed to be out of London at the time. Just for me personally, I just needed to kind of to keep that line of focus. Like I said, after that knee injury, things could have easily, that summer could have been reckless, but I was so determined to get back and to try and get myself back into a decent level. And Bristol City was a decent level. They were a newly promoted championship club. They'd not long been in the champ. I think that maybe the season before they won the League One and got into the champ. So yeah, it was good, man. It was different again. There wasn't as much technical players. It was more kind of, it just seemed like
passion.
Yeah, like more passion and drive. It's just players, a group of players that probably wanted it more than your average person, but weren't technically as good.
They got bills to pay.
That was a kind of difference. That was the difference, man. They knew what it took to get 3 points. That was kind of the difference between a Premiership and and a Championship. But don't get me wrong. Premiership players, of course, know what it takes to get 3 points. But what a Championship player can do to secure that 3 points is different to what a Premier League player can do.
It's not as detrimental to their personal lives as it is. Like, man are playing for contracts, man are playing to put food on the table for their families.
Exactly.
It's very different.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, playing for Bristol City, what was it like then? Because obviously, you're obviously trying to get into the first team, solidify yourself as a first team player. What kind of challenges did you face? Obviously dealing with Lee Johnson, because respectfully of talking, notoriously he's not known to be the easiest of managers to deal with.
Yeah.
Controversial.
Stuff like that.
For me, that side of things, that with the manager at the time, I never had no run-ins with him, but obviously you hear little whispers and things like that. And obviously that I think later on, as you said, the kind of things have come out about how he manages and things like that. But I never had no problem with him at all, man. I can only go off what I kind of read and what I heard at the time. But going to Bristol City was a bit of a culture shock, because I'd gone from Spurs, amazing facilities, Villa, amazing facilities, and Bristol City now is not what it was back then. It was porter cabins back then.
Yeah.
It was only the first team who had a proper building. So we was the 21s and we was in porter cabins. So that there is a culture shock in itself. And just the kind of the layout of the ground wasn't amazing. Like,
They didn't care for you though.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Do you see where I'm coming from? So it was like the ground, there wasn't, normally you go to an academy ground and there's like trees everywhere. It stops the wind, innit?
Yeah.
So here, there was no trees. Every pitch is just windy. So you smash a ball and it's just propelling back. So kind of just little things like that were just like a little, it took some adapting to, if you like.
So you must have played with Joe Bryan.
Joe Bryan was in the first team, yeah.
But he was in your position. He was ahead of you in your
he
position.
He was a left back though. So I'm a
Okay.
centre half. So he was a left back again, another good player who came through the academy. Bobby Reed, good player. Lloyd Kelly, who's obviously in the Premier League now.
Lloyd Kelly.
Me and Lloydie were in the 21s together. Joe Morrell.
He's at Bournemouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bournemouth.
He just left. So Joe Morrell is another one who plays for Wales now. Cam Pring, who was a bit of a surprise, who's now left back at Bristol City. So yeah, there's a few players who have
Good few players that have come through there,
kind of took. Lloydie was always going to be a good player, like a really good athlete, great height, athletically really good. But there's other players like who could, and naturally, as time goes on, there are players when you look back now that do surprise you. They go on to do things which I'd have never foreseen, and they probably didn't even foresee for themselves. But
Why do you think is that though?
do you know what? I think sometimes in football you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and things have got to gel at the right time. And some people get second chances in the game, others don't. Like some people might make an appearance, have a stinker, and you never see him again. Someone might, whereas another one might have 2 bad games, but then he gets pulled out for a bit, goes on loan, whatever, and then comes back 6 months later, and the rest is history for him. So you need that rubber to green in football, man.
But when you was playing, did you like have someone around you like guiding you and stuff?
Yeah, I had my dad, obviously my older brother who's got a good head on his shoulders, who never played football, but always been in touch with football, big Spurs fan. So I was fortunate enough to have that guidance, yeah.
So you spend the season at Bristol City, and that's when you really, after this, you really go into men's football and you really understand what the game's really about. You go to sign for aldershot.
Yeah.
What was that culture shock like? Obviously, you know, from being at Bristol City, you get a bit more serious when people are playing for their lives and for their futures of their families and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But National League and non-league, you know, is when it gets real serious, as you and I both know, Jeff as well. What was that kind of culture shock like?
That was different, man. That was massively different because non-league is a whole different world, man. It is. It's just like when you come from the program and go into non-league, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot to learn quickly. Otherwise, you will be out the door in the next one.
You will drown.
Yeah, literally, it's sink or swim. I think I almost call it 2 careers because I had my academy career where everything was like nice and things are done for you and there's structure and there's organisation. Whereas non-league is like, doesn't matter about this, doesn't matter if you ain't trained all week, or it doesn't matter if you're injured or whatever. Just strap yourself up, get on the pitch. Saturday, 3 points, bish bash bosh, go on to Tuesday, man. And learning that kind of relentlessness of the league was tough, man. Kind of getting to grips with that it wasn't easy. There's teams where you go to like who was it back then? Truro away, or
Far
that's
journey.
covered itself. But or Yeovil away, or
yeah.
these tough away games, man. These might be on a Tuesday night.
Furish Park on
These
a
are
Tuesday
these
night,
are long.
like,
Yeah, so it's far away from home, man, and these are tough games. Or Gateshead away, we're all the way up there.
Newcastle,
and, it's long, man. So yeah, that kind of took some adjusting to. I'd say obviously the first 6 months was a real eye opener for me. I thought going to Aldershot, I'd go there, play well, be out of there in Jan. That was the naivety of me at the time. I thought, yeah, I'll go there. Little did I know, no one's gonna give you a shirt. That's just not how men's football works. Yeah, and I never knew National League's still a good level. I didn't know enough about National League at the time, coming into it, but National League's still a good level. And at the time, Aldershot were a promotion chasing side. So
were they full time?
They're full time, full time. Good manager in Gary Woodlock. Decent setup actually. It weren't the worst. It was decent setup. Had their own little bit of grass and where you could train. It was kind of secluded away from everyone else. So that was kind of a real eye opener. Sorry.
So with Aldershot, well, even with Aldershot as such, but playing National League, they always say that National League and League Two, there's not much of a big difference. It's pretty much the same, but just one's a league like a proper league, and then one's non-league, as they say. But yeah, like, talk to me more about obviously trying to push for promotion with Aldershot, and obviously cement yourself as one of the main centre halves for Aldershot as well, and obviously that period of time as well.
Obviously, people say there's not a huge difference in National League and League Two. I don't believe from seeing it there is. I haven't played League Two, so I can't comment on that. But most people that play League Two say the same sort of thing. Chasing promotion, and I've just experienced this at Worthing, and at the time I was in that environment at Aldershot where they were trying to push for that, and they finished in the playoffs that season. But I wasn't a mainstay in that backline. I was there as cover. I was a young centre half that was inexperienced, that could have been something, but probably wasn't ready at the time. Probably wasn't ready for that level. And it sounds probably weird. I would have been better off maybe playing a few leagues above because of how I wanted to play. I didn't want to touch it out of my feet and hit the channel. I didn't want to just head it. I wanted to bring it down and look for a pass. So
I was going to say that. Because National League's more, you have to be ready to fight.
100%.
Because the ball is going to be in the air
90%.
Yeah, 90% of the time. And you're going to get them big strikers that will elbow your face.
100%, yeah.
Do you reckon if maybe seemed that you looked a bit tougher, that Gaffer would have probably thrown you in there, or?
Maybe. Like, it's a good question. I think maybe. Obviously, I did play in... When did I play? I think I played towards the end of August. I made my debut towards the end of August. And I got sent off about half hour in because I was caught between the rock and the hard play. Hard play. So I was trying to play, but I was also trying to be tough. I was trying to get to grips with what they are, but also trying to play my own game at the same time. And yeah, long story short is I drove out of the ball, took a touch too heavy, still trying to look for a pass, when then I probably should have just hit the diagonal, clipped the channel. But obviously I took a touch too heavy and lunged into a tackle and got sent off. And there I lost the manager's trust. It's massive. I look back and at the time I thought, why is he not playing me after that? Why is he not playing me after that? But now, as an older, more experienced pro, if I'm the manager and I've got a young centre-half who makes a naive mistake and could have, I didn't cost him that day, we come away with a point, but could have cost us 3 points. My job's on the line, so how can I play him? Do you see what I'm coming from? So on that side of things, I get it. And I had to go out and go on loans and things like this and do a season in the National League and kind of learn my trade. I wasn't ready to be around that promotion environment because the stakes were so high. Silly little mistakes like these red cards, like heavy touches, like not putting in the channel were going to cost the team. And that was too big a risk, I think, for the manager to play me at the time.
And especially when people are living off like paycheck to paycheck as well.
Yeah, bonuses, win bonuses, things like this, they're massive. They're massive at National League level, man.
So from there, you've gone on loan to Whitehawk.
Yeah, went on loan to Whitehawk, yeah. What
was that period like as well?
Whitehawk is a mad pitch. If you've ever been there, it's the slopiest slope ever. Like that's a proper non-league ground. But that was, for me, it was a fantastic time. It was a time for me to play week in, week out, in a sort of less pressured environment, in an environment where I may get away with a mistake because it's the league below. So National League, maybe I might get punished, but in the National League South, I might get away with it. It was a chance for me to kind of cement my spot in the team and be a leader and become the player that I know I can be. But I ultimately wanted to get back to the National League and prove it at that level.
So from there, go through, you have you come back to Aldershot, and then you go to Whitehawk on a permanent.
Yeah.
So then it comes to the 18-19 season, and you sign for Braintree. That's back in the National League.
Back in National League. So they just been promoted. So they won the playoff final. So yeah, I went to a newly promoted Braintree. Again, that was a club where I knew financially I had to take a sacrifice. I wasn't the money there was poor, but I knew I had to prove myself. I knew that this was the year, this was the chance that
they're training the evenings.
A part-time team in what is now a full-time league. Majority of teams, I'd say probably 80-90% National League teams are now full-time.
Yeah, because the money that's being pumped in.
Exactly. Now. So yeah, this kind of I wanted to play that season. I said it doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about how much of a circus this place might be, or whether we get paid late, or whether like people are even turning up for training. I didn't care about that. All I cared about was that Saturday, that Tuesday, and just proving to myself, no one else, just myself, that I can play National League football. And I did that. I think I played 40 odd games that year, and was like a mainstay in the back line.
You lot survived.
No, got relegated. I think we had the youngest team in the National League. Wow. And the most players in the National League. Because like I said, at the time, it was a bit of a circus, man.
Who was that Braintree that season? I'm trying to remember some names.
Jake Cass.
Cass was there. Jake Cass was there. Mo Sagaf, who's at Bournemouth, plays internationally for Tanzania now. Callum Morton was on loan there at the time.
Morton,
Keeper Ben Killip, who's now at Barnsley. Trying to think who else. A guy called Andrew Alaferu, played in the Prem for Watford.
Big up Andrew.
So there's a few players, but there was, you know how it is, it's a revolving door sometimes at these lower clubs. So you've got the team that started the season was different to the team that was playing at Christmas, was different to the team that played the last game of the season. So and I think I was probably, me and maybe Ben Killip were the only ones that kind of stayed in the team for the whole period, man.
So after that season at Braintree, played well enough and got yourself back at Aldershot.
Yeah.
Spent 4 years there.
4 years, yeah.
4 years there, more experienced pro by now at that time.
Yeah.
What was those 4 years like at Aldershot, returning back afterwards?
Good. Yeah. I enjoyed myself at Aldershot. Them 4 years, there was some turbulent phases where the club probably didn't do as well as we'd wanted to. But on the most part, it was good, man. Good experience. Some really, really good people there, as in dressing room and teammates. And some good players as well. But no, I enjoyed it, man. Being back at a club where I wanted to prove my worth to initially. So to be back and play every week was nice. And to obviously go on, I think I played over 150 odd games for Aldershot, which was, a good achievement in itself, man. And something I'm proud of.
Was Anwar your coach?
Anwar and Danny Sell. Yeah, Danny Sell. So again, two of the best coaches and managers you'll find in football.
Anwar was a centre back as well. So
Anwar was, and Anwar was a proper centre half, man. So again, another top person.
So from this season, you've been at Tonbridge Angels. Mm-hmm. What was that period of Tonbridge Angels like? Was it there for about 6-7 months?
No, about 7-8 months. So majority of the season I was there. Good, man. Like for as far as a part-time club goes, that's a good setup. Good 3G. Really good manager in Jay Saunders, and obviously Jay Saunders manager there, so a really good guy who's got a good reputation in non-league football, and it's not a surprise because
he was at Maidstone.
He was at Maidstone. So, but prior to me signing there, that was the big thing because I wasn't sure. I didn't know enough about Tonbridge at the time, and I'd spoke to a few people, and they said to me like, "No, Jay Saunders, good manager. Like, trust me, good manager. He will let you play kind of. He'll give you that pat on the back, but he'll tell you when you're out of line." And he was that, man. He's one of few managers that I'd probably say that I would play for again for free if it had to be, for example. But no, I enjoyed my time at Tonbridge, man. Good club, good support, and good people.
Was Ruben there?
Ruben Suarez was there, yeah. Ruben, good player again, man. But another one who's probably not really, and he won't mind me saying this, hasn't really found his feet at Conference South level yet. So
it's not the same, innit? Carpet and the bubbles.
Astro.
It's not easy.
Exactly, man. But again, that goes to show you there's so much talent in non-league, like players like Ruben, like you say, like that have enough. I can guarantee you they've got enough to go on, but they just need to conquer this step. Yeah, just come and conquer either National League or National League South, play 50 to 100 games, get 20, 25 goals, whatever position you're, or 30, 40 clean sheets. Learn your trade, because I had to do it. And do you know what I mean? Younger players, that are in non-league need to learn that. Don't jump the gun too quick. Don't try and go from here to there. It doesn't work like that, because you'll end up coming straight back down.
Perfect segue to the question I was about to ask as well. Yeah, what advice would you give to obviously young pros that are coming through the ranks at, let's say, a championship club or a lower championship club, League One club, and obviously have to go on loan into non-league and stuff like that? Could you try and give a little bit more of an in-depth understanding of, like you said, not to jump the gun and say you want to jump here and like learn your trade and stuff like that? What advice could you give them as well, like more on the playing side of things as well?
The quicker you can get out and establish yourself in the men's game, the better. Because 21s games are good, 18s games are good, but they have an expiry date on them. So once you're 21 playing 21s, good performances become irrelevant. Once you're 18 doing well in the 18s, again, good performance become irrelevant. But when you're younger doing that, it's better. As soon as you get past 20, 21, if you're playing week in, week out and you're 20 years old, let's just say, playing week in, week out at Conference South level, at National League level, people are going to watch you. Why? Because you're a young player playing week in, week out. And if you can quickly establish yourself in the men's game and learn your trade, like we said, gain that experience, because it's invaluable. Someone can't give you that. They can teach you how to Cruyff turn, they can teach you how to do kick-ups, but you can't teach someone how to defend or how to manage a game or how to win 3 points. You can only learn that through doing. So yeah, that's what I'd say to them.
And I'd say as well, non-league is different non-league to what it was 20 years ago. 100%, there's a lot way more exposure nowadays than what there used to be. But currently just finished the season off with Worthing. It was in the playoffs. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way we all expected it to go. What was that experience like as well?
Yeah, good. It was my first proper playoff taste. So like I said, I'd been around there all the shot, but I wasn't a mainstay. And at Worthing, I was lucky. I'd got the call on that non-league deadline day. I got the call from a guy called Nathan, who's a football director there, and kind of said they want to bring me in. And when they said that, as long as Tonbridge gave the green light, I was always going to do it. And it was brilliant, man. It was good. Again, another really good part-time club, a club with big ambitions, a club that are unique and kind of separates themselves from every other club in the division because they're so bold in how they play, and it's ultimate football at Worthing. If you watch any of the games, you'll see, like you saw against Braintree, it's just keep on playing, keep on trying to find that spare man, keep on trying to move the opposition and think outside the box to break teams down, man. But that playoff push was good, man. It ultimately ended up in heartbreak, but it was good. It was nice to be in that environment, that winning environment where everything just driven around 3 points. Let's just keep winning. To be in that kind of momentum is an amazing feeling, man.
Also, as well, I know you've seen as well. We had Anthony Acheampong on, not too long ago. Obviously, man, you know well as well. And he gave us some good advice about obviously being able to earn a life career from playing football in non-league and stuff like that. I'm aware that obviously you told me as well he actually helped you in regards to making decisions in that aspect as well. Touch on how obviously, because I look at you as someone that's doing exactly that. So people will understand that. How could you sustain yourself in that non-league and making a good living for yourself, like playing football? Because not a lot of us can say we can do that.
Yeah, so now obviously there's a lot more money in the National League than probably ever before, man. You've got players who are on 4-digit salaries, like, do you know what I mean? So those are your big boys, but also not so just that, like at Conference South level, you can work a job and pick up a decent income and combine the incomes together. You're on what may get you in that 40% bracket, which is a good living, man. Like you said, actually someone obviously who's been around the block. So initially when I spoke to him, I was just leaving Braintree and I kind of been put through to him by a friend and he'd given me a lot of advice. But again, he's someone who's been around non-league and can tell you firsthand that non-league now is not what it was a long time ago. You can still have a decent career, and this is something probably younger players need to know is don't be naive. Non-league, you can still have a decent career and earn an honest living, and you can. The thing is, you're not stuck. Yes, it's hard to get out of non-league, but it's hard to get out of any league. If you come here, you do well enough, you might go on. You might be lucky enough to push back up the leagues, man.
But would you say, see non-league? I'm a bit bad because I'm a striker. Well, used to be a striker. It's easier for a striker to get the move than it is for a defender. Because if you're a striker and you're banging 30 goals, 40 goals in non-league, you will get that move.
Yeah.
No matter what team you're playing for, no one cares. If you're scoring at 30 goals, let's say over 20, 25, you'll get that move. But as a defender, it's harder. Because the limelight ain't really on defenders. Not to be rude, but
no, it's true.
like me, when I look at defender, I'm like, I don't even care. I'm more
No,
about
it's
the
true.
attacking players.
Yeah.
So I think that's also another thing that maybe needs to be looked at.
Yeah, I think.
Non-league world.
Look, I think that now the demands of the game are changing, isn't it? Like what was required of a defender or a goalie back then is different to what it is now.
Yeah.
Now even at non-league level, you've got to be able to keep clean sheets. You've got to be able to be good in the air. You've got to be someone who can read the game, but also you've got to be someone who can get on the ball, find passes. Otherwise, what's the point in you playing higher? The higher you go, that's what the demands are now.
Exactly.
So I think naturally a striker's the glitz and glam position, isn't it? Like that's where they grab the headlines. They could have a stinker for 90 minutes, tap 2 in, and then they get all the glory in it and the man of the match. So that's just the nature of the beast, man.
Ireland.
Yeah, literally. That's what I'm trying to say. So no, that's true. That's true.
Obviously 27, still got your prime ahead of you.
Yes.
What's the goals and aspirations for the rest of your career and beyond?
I'd like to get back into full-time football, man. This has been my first season in part-time football, and it's been good. It's allowed me to take up more coaching role, which I've enjoyed, but coaching's always going to be there. The years of my career aren't, and I'm not going to get this season back, if you like. And it's not been a bad season. It's been good. Like I said, I've played for 2 good clubs under 2 good management teams and in both good dressing rooms. But I want to get back into full-time football, ideally. And like you said, I'm hopefully coming into my prime years and years which should be my best football of my career. So I just want to push as hard as I can, man. Whether that's going back to the National League, whether it's playing abroad, whether it's, I don't know, anything. Whatever it is, I just want to make now the most of my career. I've had that taste of promotion. I'd like to kind of, that close to promotion, if you like. I'd like to chase that feeling again, because that kind of euphoria of winning the playoff semi-final and being in that playoff final was a brilliant feeling. So I'd like to experience that again. But yeah, ultimately I want to use this next, whatever it is, 4 or 5 years of playing at maybe my peak years, just to be the best I can be, man. That's all I want to be. It's just the best version of myself, both on pitch and off pitch. And
you want to be the best, or you make the most money?
I'm not bothered about the money. I'm not bothered about the money.
Why?
I think I've had my years of being focused on the money, and it's not been what it's touted to be. There's not an abundance. It's not life changing at National League level. So even chasing an extra 50, 100, 200 quid is not going to change my life. So now I'd rather play in a promotion chasing side where I'm on a little bit less money per week and it's a great dressing room than be in a mid-table, bottom table club and be the highest paid player there. That's just me. Do you know what I mean?
Because we're living in a time where it's money that's doing the talking. Let's say, for example,
it is.
Look at Chatham, for example. Right, they had Kedwa on the books. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
For a ramen team to have someone like Kedwa on the books, you're at least forking out like a big chunk of your budget. And obviously you're at a stage where you're gonna have to pick. Is it money? Is it football? And unfortunately, that's how football is nowadays. It's now becoming a business.
Yes,
we need to be honest with ourselves. Football's now a business.
Yeah.
From the under 7s all the way up now.
Yeah.
It's now a matter of business. Because there was like even a youngster that got signed by Arsenal. Chelsea wanted to sign him, but because Arsenal offered more perks to the family, they decided to go for Arsenal.
By the way, look, when you say it like that, right, I don't blame that family. Yeah, because when, like I said, I've come from a council estate background. If someone had come to me at 15, 16 years old and offered me a bucket load of money, and someone had offered a bucket load of money and a house and a car and things like this for my dad, I would have took that. I would have took that. Not because I was a money grabber back then, because the football journey is bigger than me. Yeah, it's about, if I can get something which can change my family's circumstances, I'm always going to do that. I'll always put my family first. But no, for me, it's not about money, man. It's not, there's not enough money at this level for me to chase, I don't think. But like I said, I've had that taste of promotion. For me, that you can't buy euphoria. You can't buy that feeling. You can't buy that sort of, that moment. Yeah, you can buy all these players, you can put them on X amount, but you can't buy that dressing room, that camaraderie, that great feeling of that kind of goosebump feeling of getting 3 points on. What I'd imagine Braintree would have experienced the other week was that amazing feeling of collectively coming together and pushing so hard for something and getting your foot over the line, which is promotion. So that's what I want now, man.
Makes sense, man. Makes total sense. Just to wrap up, quick fire questions we like to do. This is mine and Jeff's favorite bit because we had to go back and forth on some of our takes and the way we feel about certain players. But do you want to start this one off or?
Let me see what you're gonna say first. I know what to retaliate with.
Me to start?
Yeah, you go first. I know what to retaliate.
This is the main one that we go back and forth about. Yeah,
cool.
Harry Kane or Ciro Immobile?
Wait, but you have to give context.
Harry Kane.
No. You have to, no.
There's not much context to it, is there?
There is no context.
Hold on.
Harry Kane, he's a better goal scorer.
Okay, he's a better scorer, but what's he? Are you sure? Have we checked?
I couldn't tell you from what I know. Yeah, Harry Kane's a better.
That's because of the British media has sold it to us, but the British media ain't
No,
going to
we've
sell.
seen the man play.
But he's done it at the best level.
At the best
There
level.
is
What's
no Premier League.
What's he won? What's he won?
Well, what's there though? Ciro Immobile, whatever. He's probably got he's got more goals than Harry Kane.
No, he does not.
Yeah, but at what level? At what level? We've got to get it. So
Serie A.
One season.
So
One
how
season.
does that level up against Premier League? Is
Premier
Serie A
League is a farmers league.
Premier League?
It's a farmers league. Yeah, it's a farmers
Next
league.
question, Chef.
No. It's a farmers league. Wait. Hold on. Cool. Look at the last 8 winners in the Serie A compared to UK.
You're going to get very technical.
I'm not getting There's been Juve, AC Milan, Napoli, Inter. Yeah, in England, what? It's just been Liverpool. Just Liverpool won it once, and City's won it what? 6, 7.
This is meant to be a quick fire question. What are you doing?
No, but you have to put context into it. You can't say Harry Kane and
You got to bear in mind the context of what the Serie A is. Remember, the cash injection is completely different to what Man City get. Man City are light years ahead of everyone.
The best players from Serie A ultimately end up coming
to the Prem.
Yes.
Like who?
I said like
who? Cool. We'll see Rafael Leao. He'll either end up at Real Madrid, Barcelona, or Premier League club. That time will tell that. And we'll check
because
back
of money, not because of playing. He can probably end up in Aston Villa because they'll give him 150k a week.
But it's not. I don't think it's just the money that attracts players.
It's
to the
money.
Prem. I don't think. Obviously, it's a huge.
Nothing else attracts.
But now there's a bigger bidder than the Premier League financially. You can go to Saudi. So
Yeah.
if it's just money you're after, then you can go to. You can find it somewhere else. I think people come to the Prem because it's the best of both worlds. It's the best level of football you're gonna find. My opinion, and I think it's almost
from what everyone says, it's more. Okay, look at Casemiro. He's on 375k a week. No other team in Europe will ever offer him that.
Of course not. Yeah.
Do you get? In the Premier League, there's so much money that's getting pumped in. That's what we attract. That's what a lot of players want to come here because they know it's a good paycheck. We can't lie to ourselves.
It's a good paycheck, but also to play for a club like Man United as well.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah. You as a Man United fan, you should know that as well.
Yeah, Man United are a huge club. They're big clubs with history here, which United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. They're probably bigger than any other Serie A team you could list off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
What's your quick fire next one?
Who would you have in your team? Kylian Mbappe or Haaland?
Mbappe.
Thank you.
Has to be Mbappe. Mbappe is just so dynamic, explosive. He's got more to his game than.
And would you say Mbappe is the best player in the world right now?
Yeah. There's a lot of players in really good form at the moment. There's a lot of players in really good. Jude Bellingham's in exceptional form. He's Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham, he's in exceptional form. That can't be questioned. But for the longevity, Jude's been in this vein of form for one season. He's been very good at Dortmund, but Mbappe's been at that level now for 3-4 years. He's got a catalogue to back it up.
So if you do your top 3 Ballon d'Or right now, who would that be then?
Bellingham, 100%.
Winning Ballon d'Or?
100%. No. Top 3, you said, no?
Yeah, so for first, second, third.
Oh, first, second, third. I'm still going to go Bellingham, actually. I'm still going to go Bellingham.
First?
I'm still going to go Bellingham.
First?
Yeah, for me, for
Jesus
a player
Christ.
that young to have gone and done what he's done internationally or will do this summer internationally, what he's done at Madrid in a team, in a squad where...
20-year-old man.
Exactly.
I was going to say, it's either... I was saying to him before, it's a toss-up between him and Vinicius who wins it.
Where's
Vinicius,
Rodrigo? Because Rodrigo's had a better season than Vinicius, by the way.
Pardon?
Rodrigo's had a better season than Vinicius.
On the basis of...
Not numbers.
Not numbers. It's not definitely numbers.
See, this is the thing.
But we know what kind of game it is now. No. On the eye, maybe. On the eye, maybe, yeah.
has scored a lot of goals and assists, but for Madrid, and a lot of the Madrid guys will say it's Rodrigo. Those that watch, everyone's been saying it's Rodrigo. And there's been a lot of big games where I deep to saying, actually, it is Rodrigo. Yes, Vinicius has scored in some big moments, but
he's their go-to though.
As the footballer in that team, bro, it's Rodrigo is ahead.
I think when Mbappe goes to Madrid, it's Rodrigo who's at risk of being displaced. I don't think it's Vinicius.
I agree.
I don't think it's Vinicius at all. I think it's Rodrigo who's more likely to miss out on more starts than it is Vinicius. That's my opinion. But yeah.
Okay, my next one, I'm going to go with a centre-half topic. As a centre-half, I don't want to make it too easy though. Sergio Ramos or Paolo Maldini?
Maldini.
Oof.
Maldini, yeah.
I can't even argue with
Yeah,
that one.
Maldini just read the game. Ramos, brilliant, but he had that crazy side to him, that unreliable side where he might score a header, he might make an unbelievable tackle, but he also might get sent off and throw the game.
Yeah.
Like, he might cost the team. So
It's two different players though.
So yeah.
Go on, Jeff.
For me, them two are two different players, isn't it?
No, they are. They are to a degree. They are. But I'm looking at more so the magnificence of both of them, both in art of defending and them as overall footballers at the same time.
There's one I've got in my mind. Rio Ferdinand or Van Dijk.
That's why I didn't go with that one. It's too easy. I knew that.
It could be anyone, Ferdinand.
Yeah, I knew it was too
you
easy.
You could say anyone. For me, Ferdinand was just a player beyond his years, man. He is, that's a fact. If he was now playing, his value would be through the roof.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Rio Ferdinand.
I got one more for you then. I'll go JT or who's another top centre half that over the last few. JT or Vincent Kompany?
Wow. JT or
It's a tough one, that one.
It's tough because of they're both very similar, as in one doesn't edge it on the other. That both amazing defenders, both proper leaders, both somewhat good on the ball, like not ultimate ball players, but both very comfortable on
JT left foot,
right foot. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But not probably your step out, wrap it into a pocket, but definitely. Oh, I don't know. I'll probably say JT, just about, just about edges it.
I'm with that.
Yeah,
one.
just about.
What are you saying?
Who, me?
Who you go?
You know
for?
my views about John Terry?
Fair enough.
John Terry, yeah.
No,
John Terry.
Nope.
Company.
Yeah, I'm going company. I will never
enough.
give John Terry that respect based on what he did on the football pitch against QPR, but that's topic for another day.
Fair enough. Yeah. That's politics, but yeah.
And also, a quick one. Who do you think is going to win? Okay, before I ask this question, we need to make it clear.
Yeah.
No being biased, none of that. Who do you think is going to win the Euros? And realistic.
I generally believe if Gareth gets it right, it's England. I believe it's England.
I wasn't expecting that. Go on.
Just because of the run of form that the front line are in now. So if you look at Foden, you look at Cole Palmer, you look at Saka, you look at obviously Harry Kane.
Even Anthony Gordon.
That firepower, Jude Bellingham, you're looking at, I don't even know what the combined goals and assists would be of that attacking and mid-attacking third would even be. Even players that could probably won't even start. Ollie Watkins, Jarrod Bowen.
This is international ball, the tournament.
Yeah, which is goals and assists. That's ultimately what you need is goals, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what's going to win you games. Like, it doesn't matter if you win 4-3. No one's out there looking to keep a 1-0 clean sheet. No, you'll take it. But if you have to win 4-3, then so be it. I think if Gareth gets it right and if them players perform at the level they should, then I can't see why England can't win it. I just don't see why not.
I think the midfield and the defence was killed the team though, man. That midfield and defence ain't strong enough. I don't think the depth, the midfield's okay if you the midfield's okay, but
there's only one option: Rice, Maino, Jude,
or I say Rice, Jude, and Phil.
Yeah, I go Rice, Jude, and Phil.
But I hope you are aware that England's on course to meet France again in the quarterfinals.
Oh, England are out, man. England
don't
are
know,
out.
bro.
No,
I
it's
don't know.
France
And
is to
also,
lose.
Kante's back for France.
It's France is to
I
lose.
don't
And do you know what they've called
France
it?
is to lose.
The last dance.
I don't know. Look, France will obviously be front runners, but I think what England have got, if it's not now, it's never.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
never.
Yes,
But like
never.
that,
it's
this is
never.
better than that so-called. In my opinion, this is better than that so-called golden era.
I don't
This
think it is. You know?
I think so.
I don't think
the only
it is.
thing where
Golden generation,
golden
England.
era.
Like,
This
Beckham-
team doesn't touch the golden era.
I don't
I
think
don't,
so.
the only
I
reason
agree. I
I'd
don't
say
see
it doesn't is because of the back four or the defense. Like,
Yeah.
do you
The
look
only
at that
person
golden
starts
era?
is Phil Foden somewhere.
Harry
Even-
Kane doesn't
even-
get in. You don't think?
No, Harry Kane doesn't get in there. Do you know why? Because that time you had Rooney.
Yeah, but you don't think Harry Kane and Rooney can play as remember it was 4-4-2 them times.
9
So you
and a
don't-
10, innit?
Yeah, so you don't think Harry
Surely.
Kane and
Who was Rooney playing in 2004 with?
Michael Owen or Darius Vassell. Come on, bro.
Oh, if it's Vassell, then yeah, he takes
Come
it
on,
over.
man.
Owen, but them times Owen, you know, I saw he won the Ballon d'Or.
that was a bit before.
that was 2001.
Yeah, you can
Owen,
argue.
Owen was at Newcastle, just going to Newcastle 2004, just left Real Madrid them times.
Yeah,
So
you
he,
can argue
and his
Foden
knees were
and-
gone, his knees were going them times. So it was a little bit.
Because those are the same two players that get into the France team, anyways. Foden and Kane, probably.
That's fair.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably I can't argue with that. But yeah, I think now's the time, man. If it's ever gonna happen, it's now. If it doesn't happen now,
Yeah, I
we
agree.
might as well just.
There's a famous saying that it's the
Yeah.
hope that kills, man.
Yeah, no, it's true. No, you're not wrong.
I'll be real. For me, if it's France is to lose, however, I can't sleep on Portugal's team. Portugal are strong.
They've been tough. Yeah, I've
They're
seen it,
strong
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Portugal are strong, and even Germany are finding themselves again. The crop of players that Germany got now as well.
Yeah,
My top four is France, Germany, Portugal, and Croatia.
England not in that at all.
Never.
Croatia ain't the same Croatia though, man.
They're not the same, but they've got a few youths that I'm seeing popping up this season. I'm thinking, they're gonna be there.
That'd be interesting, man.
I mean, I hear it. I'm not mad at it.
I'm not convinced, but it'd be interesting, man. Be 100% interesting. Yeah.
I got one more midfielders. I got one more midfielders. I'm gonna go. Who's we arguing about? This was the argument in the group chat about at the moment. Tony Cruz and
Tony
who?
Cruz or Paul Scholes.
So, yeah, that's it.
I admire Scholes, but, and it's a but because I don't know if Scholes gets the applauds and the accolades that everyone's giving him if the likes of Xavi's and Peps and if they don't come out and make the statements, Zidane's, if they don't come out and make statements that they did, do you know what I mean? Like if they don't say how good he was, we don't know how good he was. As in, we know from a viewer's eye, but it's different when you play against someone. Yeah,
You know, a lot have said
for
that.
me, Cruz, just from a neutral's eye, was there's levels in it, like, and Cruz just sets the bar right there, bro. Like,
But for me, I think it's two different players.
it is, yeah.
I'll compare Cruz to like Gerrard.
Are they though? I don't think they are two different players though.
Because
Personally,
Scholes was
I think
more-
they're more
both
similar than they
technicians,
think.
innit? Both technicians.
Because Scholes was
Both
more of a
incredible range of
playmaker.
passing. Yeah.
Whereas Cruz is more of a
A build-up type of get you.
build up,
Yeah.
reader. Whereas Scholes
Yeah.
was the one touch, flicks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
compare them two is a bit unfair.
No, it's true. I
see
think
they're both technicians though,
we'll
innit?
see. We'll see. I mean, Scholes didn't get his flowers until he retired. innit? Do you know what I mean? So we'll see over time how highly people speak of a Cruz, and that will probably sway people's opinion again. Because if the likes of Pep and people like that start saying, "Yeah, well, Cruz was way better than Scholes," then obviously the opinions may change, man. But no, probably for me, Cruz just edges it, man.
Anyone last one to wrap up, Jeff? One more.
We've had one. We've had one in the group, innit?
A few, man. There's so many, man. There's so many. Last one to wrap up, man. Sorry, last one. This is a big one as well. Who are you having? Neymar or Ronaldinho?
Ronaldinho,
Hands you.
hands down. I don't
If
even
you,
need to-
if you said otherwise,
I don't
I
need
would
to
have been
justify
my friendship
myself.
over.
Yeah.
I would have my friendship over. still.
Ronaldinho,
See?
was just him for
Thank
me.
you.
Man. Like,
Thank you.
that was just yeah.
Real ones, no.
I'm not even going to comment on this.
Real ones. If you're, do you know what I've noticed? If
Yeah.
you're 25 and under, they don't get it.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't
one
get
of
it.
them,
They
yeah,
don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
it.
I'm not in the 25
Yeah.
under, yeah, but I'm just saying.
They don't get it, bro.
I'm just saying. The thing is, what's the time now? It's 10 p.m. If I start this debate, we're not going to finish. So him just leave us no comment.
But yeah, Coach, man, thank you for putting up and having this
my
conversation
pleasure,
with us, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Pleasure.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, we'll get you on the pod as well, talk some football in general
100%,
on the
man.
next
Yeah.
season as
Who
well.
you support again?
My family are Spurs. I don't really support
my
a team though.
God.
I don't really support a team, to be
Bruv,
honest.
we see with us, man. We support where we come from, brother. Do you understand? We
Yeah.
support where we come from. There ain't no glory hunting.
I was
around
not
here.
glory
Man,
hunting.
them Southern United
I have my reasons. I have my
supporters,
reasons for supporting Man United.
the
thing is, I
I
wasn't
knew
even-
without even knowing it.
Hold on, I didn't even support United. I was supporting Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Right.
That's the reason why I fell in love with Man United because of Ruud van Nistelrooy. That's it.
fair
That
enough.
transfer, and that was it. I fell in
Bro,
love.
Rooney was one of my favorite players, but bro, I had
No,
to.
no,
I had
Ruud
to
van
be
Nistelrooy
Tottenham.
was different, bro.
I had to be
for me.
Tottenham.
I'm saying for me,
No, fair enough, man.
Ruud van Nistelrooy was different.
Fair enough,
Respect it.
man.
But yeah, my bro, man. No, thank you for your time.
No, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, that's been the BV Sports Show. Another special interview wrapped up. Kodi, Lyons-Foster, Ab and Joey, my co-host Don P. We'll see you again for another one shortly soon. Peace.